Okay, so we are recording now. So basically picking up just on the profile section here. For those people that are listening to the recording, I apologize for starting a little bit in the middle here. I did not start the recording right at the beginning of the meeting, but we're going through the dashboard. Once you've got your profile right into the dashboard, the profile is where you'll complete your information. When you go to the credentials section on the profile, this is where you're going to put in your E&O insurance, E&O expiration date, your commission information. You're going to upload your commission file. You're going to, if you have NSA training, you can go ahead and put in your NSA certification date on there, and you can upload your signatures in there. You will need a digital certificate. If you don't have a digital certificate, I recommend Identrust. Identrust is a great place to get your digital certificate from. If you need help with that, give me a call or send me an email and I'll walk you through how to get that taken care of. But you will need to upload your certificate and put in your password so that we can use that. If you want to have a marketing page, you're going to want to put in your profile photo, your logo if you have one, and a short bio, and we will create a marketing page for you, which is kind of a business card page you can use to share with your clients. The subscription is where you're going to choose the type of subscription you want to be on. This one's already set up here, but you will have an option of choosing level 1, 2, or 3 subscriptions, and I'll go through those 3 levels here in a little bit. The wallet is how you pay for jobs. When you're working on a job as a level 1 subscriber, the cost to do a transaction is $12 plus the ID verification. And the ID verification is $2 per person. And that is deducted from your wallet balance. You must have an available balance of at least $20 in order to be able to do a notarization. You can't start a session. You can create the session, but you won't be able to start the signing session until you actually have $20 in the account. When you first subscribe, the first $20 will be put in there for you. We credit you automatically every month when you pay your monthly subscription. You'll automatically get $20 put into your wallet. Your public profile is where you put in your information that's going to create your marketing, your photo, your logo, and your bio, and things of that nature. And you can fund your wallet over here on the wallet funding page. So you'd be able to add money to your wallet and see what kind of transactions are going on in that wallet. Okay, to get right into the meat of things, I'm going to show you how we create a job. Let's see, I got it from chat message here. Um, to reach out to me, so people asking how to reach out to me, I'm going to put my phone number right in the chat. So you can pull up my phone number if you want to. I'm also going to put in my email address and the website address. usanotary.net is my corporate website, and the software is actually at sharpnote.net. So you can see that yeah, you can see everything here, how to get a hold of me. All right, now to create a job, we have right up here in the upper right-hand corner, we have new order. And this is a pretty straightforward process. All you have to do is follow the screens. It makes it pretty easy to create a job. I'm going to go in here to the new order function. It's always going to have your name up here since you're the person placing the order. This order type up here is what's going to go into the notary log. You have to be able, on every one of your signings, you have to put down on your notary log what type of signing it is. So we give you a place where you can fill that in. And let's just say this one's going to be a title closing seller side. You can put whatever description you want on there. The address is just for your reference. We're not using it anywhere in the software. Just if you want to put the property address in there, you can. And then you can choose the date and time for the notarization. Now, since today is the 21st, I'm going to go ahead and choose the 21st. But choose the 22nd because I don't have any times available on the 21st. And I'll choose 9 a.m. for my signing time. Okay, that's going to go ahead and set that on my calendar for me, and it'll block off that time so nobody else can use that time once it's set. The availability that you're seeing here on this calendar is set over here on the right-hand side in notary settings, and I'll go through that here in a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and set the calendar time. I'm going to add a participant in here, and in this case, I'm going to add a couple of participants, Robert Smith, and I'll just an email, a phony email address for him, Ariane When you're filling this screen out here, where you're putting in the email address and the phone number, a couple things to remember here. Every signer has to have a unique email address. You cannot have two signers with the same email address because we track the user information by the email address. And I know you will occasionally find people that'll tell you, well, we only have one email address. I see this especially with older folks that say, we only have one email address for the two of us. We always share the email address. I've been told that several times. And 100% of the time, when I tell them that I have to have a second email address, they miraculously find one. So everybody has an email address. If they don't have an email address, we're not going to be able to get them done. We have to have an email address in order to do that. I'm going to go ahead and put in a second signer on here as well, just so we have two signers, just for the purpose of the demonstration here, Candace Smith, and I'll just use a different email address. I think I use Chris's email address for this one. I want to use a real email address because we need that when we get into the signing session. All right, so I put my signer names in there. You can put up to 8 signers in a session. 8 signers is kind of hard to manage in a session, but it can be done. I usually tell people if you're going to have more than 4 signers in a session, you're probably better off to break it up into 2 sessions. But you can put 8 signers into a session. When you go to get to this section here, this is the documents. You do not have to add documents at the time you are doing the initial setup. If you've ever worked with title companies, title companies a lot of times will give you the order and let you know that you're going to have a signing on a particular day, but they won't have the documents ready until the day of. So if you have the documents, you can go ahead and put them in. If you don't have the documents, you can put them in at a later time and just skip this section for now. Since I know this is going to be just a sample set, I'm going to go ahead and choose the documents here for it. Sample docs. I've got a sample signing session we're going to use here. And if you have multiple documents to add in there, you can add in multiple documents. So if I want to add in here, like I have a credible witness affidavit that I use sometimes. I'll add that in there just for the sake of a demonstration. I can put multiple documents in there and I can reorder the documents so one document is before the other or however I want to do it there. And that's going to basically complete the ordering process. This is basically a summary of everything that we just did. It's got the signers' names in there. It's got the document in there. And I'm going to go ahead and hit submit. And that's going to add that job right onto my dashboard. Now, you'll notice here when I added that job onto the dashboard, it shows up here at the top of the list. They're in order by the date and time. And this first order right here says I need to accept it. Every time you create a job, you accept that job in order for it to send the information out to the signers. The signers will not be notified until you accept the job. Once you click accept, then the emails are automatically sent out to the signers so that they can begin the process of doing their setup. And we're ready to move forward with setting up the job. Now, when you get enrolled on the system as a notary, what I will do with you is I will set up a sample job with you as the signer so that you can basically do a signing with me as additional training. And when we do that, you'll be able to see how the ID verification is done, how the signatures are created, and everything of that nature. It'll walk you right through the process. So right now, what's happened is those two signers were both sent an email, and that email is going to have them create their account on the system, and then have them do their signature verification and do their ID verification prior to the meeting. So when you get ready to start the meeting, everything's already done and you're ready to move forward. Now, the signers are also going to be sent multiple notifications that they have a signing coming up. They're going to get notified immediately as soon as I create the job and hit accept the order. They're also going to be notified again 24 hours before the appointment, the morning of the appointment, and 15 minutes before the appointment. So they're going to get multiple touches so that they don't miss it. Because to me, there's nothing worse than getting to the signing time and find out the signers are not there. They didn't know about it. They forgot to check their email or whatever it is. So you're going to touch them several times and make sure that they do have a chance to get that in there. Now, if I go in here and do this job now, I see I got another chat message in here. Um, Yeah, well, you will get the training. Don't worry about that. I'll make sure everybody gets properly trained all the way through this. Now, I opened up the job, and you can see here, this is the job that we created. We've got the two documents that we put in there. I can reorder the documents if I want and put them in a different order, or I can leave them the way they were, whichever way I want to do it. So it allows me to change the order of the documents. You can see the signers are in here, and since these were already existing signers, their ID is already done. So I can already see that on there. You'll be able to see with your signers if they don't have check boxes on the signature and initials, you know they haven't done their setup yet. They haven't gone through and done the signature, the initials, and the ID. And if you're in Texas, you'll also have to have that KBA done as well because Texas requires KBA. Does anybody here not know what KBA is? Okay, the knowledge-based questions are required in Texas. They're not required in Florida or in Virginia. But that being said, keep in mind that some title companies and some lenders will still require KBA. So when you create the jobs, on the first screen of creating the job, there's a checkbox. You might not have seen it in the lower left-hand corner for KBA. If the title company requires KBA, you can always turn that on, even if you're in Virginia or Florida or some other state that doesn't require KBA. KBA is just the knowledge-based questions that ask them credit, questions from their credit profile, something of that nature. Um, Most states are moving away from KBA, but MISMO still requires it. So if you're working with lenders, more times than not, the lenders are going to require that you have knowledge-based questions done as part of the setup process. Okay, so getting into the details section of the job, I opened up the job from the dashboard, and just to show you that again here, the job here is listed, and I've got the Robert Smith as my signer. I can just click on the job name here, or I can click on open over on the right-hand side, and that's going to open up the job and take me to this page right here. The important things to know about this document page right here, you can view the documents. It's just going to show you the PDF files. You can tag the documents, which is setting them up for signing. And if you've never worked with an online notary, tagging is like what you would do if you were preparing to take out a paper package and you were putting yellow sticky notes everywhere they need to sign. This is basically the same thing. You're putting the yellow sticky notes everywhere they need to sign or everywhere they need to put in text information. We're gonna tag a document here. And the start session is where you actually start the live session with the signers. Um, you can always add more documents. You can make changes to the signers. You can add a witness if you need to add a witness. All of those features are right there. You have a little notepad over here on the right. So if you need to make a note about something that you want to remember on this job, you can kind of just scratch some notes in there. That doesn't go anywhere. It's just notes for your use to be able to, if you needed to remember something about a job, if they told you make sure you get social security numbers or something like that, you want to make sure you can keep your notes right there. You can reschedule the job. Rescheduling the job allows you to choose a new date and time. When you reschedule, the signers will get a new email stating that it's been rescheduled. It's pretty straightforward. You won't use the complete job until after the signing. The complete job is the last step after the signing is complete, and it's where it's going to apply the digital signature, allow you to complete your notary log, and finish out the job. So we're going to go right on into the tagging session and show you how the tagging works. If you've worked with any of the other signing systems, like whether it be Proof or Blue Notary or One Notary or one of the others, the tagging systems are all pretty similar, and ours is not all that much different, except that I've added a few shortcuts in here to make it a little bit faster. This is the signing session. Right now, there's no video because this is just for the notary to tag the documents ahead of the signing. So I can go through here. You can see at the top, I've got my documents listed up here at the top. I can switch between my documents by clicking there, and it's going to open up the different documents for me. I can scroll through and you can see the page numbers change with the scroll. Page sync is used in the live session, so you can put everybody on the same page with you. And this right over here, the notary section, this is showing me who the active signer is. So if Robert is the active signer, that'll show Robert. And if Candace is the active signer, it'll show Candace. So it's just an indicator is all that is. To place tags on the document, go down here to the signature addendum. John needs to sign right here. I can, well, I should have, I'll put Robert. I've got the wrong name in there, but I can hit signature and just click right there where I want the signature signature to go. Now, Candace also needs a signature, so I can go over here and click Candace. Signature is still highlighted. I don't have to click it again, and I can go ahead and put the signature in there for Candace. And then I can put the date in by hitting the date function down here. That's a little long. I'm going to shorten that up a little bit and then put another date in right there. Okay, so that's using the keys over here on the right to select. I did set this up so it would be a little bit faster to do this with hotkeys. If I want to put John's signature on here, rather than clicking on his name over here on the right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the 1 key at the top of the keyboard. And 1 is going to put me on the first signer, and 2 will put me on the second signer. If I need to put a notary tag in, I'm going to hit the back tick key, which is to the left of the 1. So you can use your left hand put your pinky key on the back tick, your ring finger on the 1 key, and your middle finger on the 2 key, and you can switch between the signers very quickly by just using the keys at the top of the keyboard. Does that make sense? And then to choose the different tags, we have all the tags right here with a hotkey right in front of them. So if I want to put Robert's signature on there, I'm going to hit my ring finger, which is the 1, and then I'm going to hit S for signature, and I can put John's signature in there. And then I can hit my middle finger for Candace, and I can put her signature in there. And then I can hit D for date, and I can put the dates on the document. And you can see they're color coded. All of John's tags are going to be blue. All of Candace's tags are going to be green, and the date tags are universal. Anybody can fill in a date tag, so they are yellow. Going down here a little bit further, if I needed to add a text tag in here somewhere, I'll say I want to put in a name down here at the bottom. I can hit T for text. Oops, wrong key. T for text, and I can put a text tag in there, and I can type in whatever I want there on that tag. So it makes it easy for me to put the tags in very quickly. Got a couple of chat messages here. Okay. The whole idea here with these keys, with the hotkeys, is to make it as fast as possible. I want to be able to go through this document very quickly and hit sign there. Well, I hit the wrong key again. I hit the sign button there and then hit sign, be able to put the sign tags in there very quickly. It helps if I hit the right keys, and tag this document all the way through in just a few minutes. It should not take you more than 10 minutes with most seller signing package to get the whole thing tagged. When you get down to the notary blocks at the bottom, it's the same kind of thing. If I'm going to go down here to where the notary tags are, let me go ahead and put in John's signature, Candace's signature, and I'm going to put a date in here for the 21st. And I'm going to go down here. I'm going to put in Virginia, and I'm going to put in Hanover for my county. And I'm going to show you how to shortcut that here in a little bit too. I'm going to put my name in here. So I'm going to hit the back tick for the notary and put my name in there. And then I'm going to put my signature. I'm going to hit E for seal. It's going to put the seal on there. And then I'm going to put a text box to the bottom for my disclosure at the bottom. And I'll put 21st here. You can see I can tag a notary block in a few seconds. It's very fast to be able to get those in there. And if I need to move those around, I can move them around anywhere I need to get them into the right place. See, I got a question. Can the session be reopened for minor corrections well, when you're doing the tagging session, when you're tagging the session, if the session were to crash, let's say I just got out of the session entirely, or I ended the session, the tags are all saved. You don't have to worry about losing tags. If I go right back into the same job and tag again, all those tags that I had are still there in the same place on each of the documents. So if I go back to the document that I was working on, you'll see I still have all those same tags in place, and I can pick up the tagging session from there. Now, on the signing sessions, once you start a signing session, you need to complete that signing session. Because once you complete that signing session, it's done. And that's a MISMO requirement. You cannot do a signing session in multiple sessions. MISMO requires that you complete the signing session when you start it. If you end the signing session, if you're going to stay MISMO compliant, you have to start that signing session over again and get those signatures all over again. So you want to be able to complete that signing session all the way through once you start it. But as far as doing the tagging session, I can go back and continue the tagging session and pick up right where I left off and do my notary tags and seals and stuff like that. Now, also keep in mind that there's no requirement that you tag the documents prior to a signing session. You can do the tagging while you're doing the signing. You can tag it and they'll sign it right away. So you don't have to set them up ahead of time. It's just there to be able to make the process go faster. I can get a signing session done very quickly if it's pre-tagged. If it's not pre-tagged, it's going to take me a while to go through and create all those tags in the signing session. Um, and again, I'm going to go ahead and fill out the rest of this notary block here just to get it consistent. And I get my notary name on there and a date. Double click that, and I've got my text in there where I need to be. Oh, got an extra character in there. Okay, so anybody have any questions on how the tagging session works up to this point? Okay, and if you want to talk, you can. You can take it off of mute or whatever you need to do. But you'll notice over here, you'll see how many open tags I have on the system. This is very helpful when you're in a signing session. If you're doing a loan package and it's 140 pages long, you want to know how many tags you have left, and you want to know if you missed a tag. It's not that unusual to miss a tag somewhere along the way, and you can hit next, and it'll take you to the next tag. So you just keep going through it until you get to zero, and that way you'll know you've got all the tags done all the way through. Now there is another section down here that we have not talked about yet called text shortcuts. These are programmable shortcuts that you can add as a notary for your own business that are not the standard shortcuts that are built into the system. I know from my notary business that I use the word um, driver's license quite a bit in describing the type of ID. So what I did is I created a shortcut to use inside a text tag. If I double click on the text tag and hit apostrophe D, it's going to put in that text for me. So I basically created a system on your notary profile where you can create as many shortcuts as you want to create for whatever you want to have on them. For example, if you wanted to go ahead and create a notary block, you can create a notary block and just call it apostrophe N, and it'll create your entire notary block for you there as long as you want to make it. So it's already got the Commonwealth of Virginia, County of Hanover, and all the stuff that I need to complete the notary block. And it's editable text, so I can go back and change it if I need to. So I've created some sample ones down here. Like for example, I've got one of my signers that I work with quite a bit is some of you may know Susan Oliveira. I created one for her that actually puts her name, her phone number. It's not her real phone number, obviously, but it basically puts a signature line in there for her. So you can create as many of these as you want, and I'll show you on the notary profile where you create those shortcuts so that you'll have that option for you as well. Okay, I got a couple questions in here. Can the session be reopened for minor corrections or let's see, or can support help make minor corrections? If a document is complete and it's got a digital certificate on it, once it's complete, you cannot edit it. Remember, these documents are tamper evident and sealed. So once you've completed a document, if it has an error on it, what you need to do is you need to reload that document into a new session, make whatever changes need to be made, and then save it as a new document. That way you have the original document that was signed at the time that it was originally done, and you have the correction with a different audit trail. So no, you can't go back and edit a document once it's done. That would defeat the purpose of having the digital certificate and the tamper evident technology. Now, if the document has not yet been completed, if you haven't gone through the dashboard and hit the complete option, then yes, you can go back and make changes on it until it's completed. But keep in mind, everything that you do is recorded in the audit trail. So if you're going to change something, it's going to show in the audit trail if anybody ever looks at it. Just something to be aware of. But yes, you can go back and do that. All right, so that's basically how we tag a document. It's pretty straightforward. If you're on a mobile device, You will have difficulty tagging documents because the system is not really set up for the notaries to work from a mobile device. I don't think any of them are. It's basically that's a limitation we have is you need to either a Mac or Windows-based computer to do your setup sessions and to run your live sessions. Okay, now to show you the signing session, now that we've got the tagging, you'll see a few differences when we go into the signing session. First of all, my camera is not available because I'm actually in a Zoom call, so I'm going to have to turn my camera off on the Zoom call in order to be able to get this to work. And we try that again. Uh, There we go. And I can go into the signing session now, and I'll just turn my camera off here. All right. So now you'll see that it looks very similar to what we already had, but there's a few important differences that you need to be aware of, and this is important for compliance purposes. You want to make sure you go through the proper steps when you're starting a new session so that you stay 100% compliant. First of all, you'll notice over here we have on the left-hand side the videos will all show up over here on the left. When a signer tries to sign or tries to enter the signing room, their name will appear over here on the lower left-hand corner, and you have to admit them as the notary. Across the top of the screen, all this looks exactly the same until you get to over here where it says begin notarization. You cannot do anything on the session. You see, you've got no tags until you begin the notarization. This starts the recording, and once the recording starts, you cannot turn it off. These are compliance requirements so that everything that you do on the document is recorded and kept as part of the permanent record, which we store for between 5 and 10 years, depending on your state requirements. So I'm going to go ahead and tell it to begin the notarial recording. And you can see now that I've got the notarization in progress, and now all my tags are there for me to be able to use. Now, the tags that I placed in the document are already there. And if Robert and Candace were on the call right now, I would be able to get them to do their signing. They can't right now, but I'll explain how that process works. Notice over here, I've got Notary, Robert, and Candace as my three signers. Robert and Candace can't do anything while Notary is active. But I can go down here to that warranty deed that we did that has my tags on it, and I can activate my tags now just by clicking on them. I can activate my signature just by clicking on it. Or I can activate the seal, click on the seal, tell it what type of seal it is and who it applies to. So that's a jurat, and go ahead and apply my seal. In order to get Robert to be able to do his signature, what I have to do is I have to hit one. One activates Robert as the active signer, and now Robert would be able to click on his tag and place his signature. Robert cannot place anything on the document unless there is a tag in place. The signers have no control over the documents. All they can do is scroll. And they can scroll independently. They can look through the documents as much as they want. I can put everybody on the same page by hitting page sync, and we'll all be back on the same page. But they can't move a tag. They can't add text. They can't do anything unless the notary does it first. The notary is in complete control of the session. I had it done a different way before. I didn't like it. I like it more so the notary has control of everything and the notary knows what's going on the document. I think that's very important for compliance because I want to make sure the notary knows everything that's happening on that document as long as it's in their control. So when I activate Robert, he can do his signature. And then as soon as Robert does his, I'll hit 2. And you'll see over here now Candace is active and she could do her signature. And then when I'm ready to do my name down here, I'll hit the back tick and I can do my information down here. Does all that make sense? Is anybody totally lost? Okay, so that's pretty much the whole process. There are some things that we need to do to start the session. We did not have to check IDs on this session because as you saw before, the IDs were already done. When you start a new session, if you have never seen this signer before, you're going to have to approve their IDs. You will not be able to run these tags down here until you approve their IDs. So up here on their name, you'll see it's got a review button here on the right-hand side. And if I click on review, it's going to bring a picture of their ID front and back up here. You can compare the front and back to the video, make sure it's the right person, and approve the ID. If you reject the ID, it's going to make them redo the ID, and they're going to have to do it over again. Even if automated system approved their ID, the notary is still required to go back and check the ID manually and make sure that that's a valid ID. That's not my requirement. That's a legal requirement for notary law. Okay, Tanisha said not totally lost. Okay. I have to check each ID. I have to verify the IDs are accurate. Either reject ID or request to retake. Either one's going to do the same thing or approve the ID. Once it's approved, now move forward to the next step in the signing process. If you try to complete this document without approving the IDs, you're going to get a little red error box up here that says you can't complete the document because you haven't approved the IDs yet. It's going to keep you from making that mistake. You're not going to be able to finish up this document unless the IDs are approved. And the signers will not be able to get into a session unless they've either done their ID or you bypass their ID as the notary because you personally know them. We have a new signer, new person joining us. Hello, Shannon. How are you today? I don't think she's quite on with us yet, but so basically, as we go through here, I can't complete a document until I complete all the tags. Now, since I don't have Candace and Robert on here right now, I'm going to delete their tags off of this system and just complete all the other tags that are on here. And you can see the number is decreasing as I go through the tags. All right, now I've got 0 tags left. My IDs have been approved. I'm ready to finish up this document and I can complete the session. All right, now that document is complete, but remember I had 2 documents. I've got another document over here. I need to complete that one as well. So I would go through and complete the tags on that one as well. And when that one's done, I'll complete that document as well. Each document has to be completed individually for it to show that the document is complete all the way through. Now the document is locked. Here's where you want to be very careful. You do not want to lock a document until you are sure you are done with it because you're not going to be able to reopen it. This is locking the document saying you are complete with that document. So if you're going to double check your documents, do that before you hit completed up here, because once it's completed, you cannot reopen that document. All right. So now I can end the session. And last step that I have to do is complete the job. So this is the job that we just did right here. I'm going to open that job back up and complete the job. Now, when I complete the job, you're going to see a few things pop up here that you probably won't see with any of the other notarial systems. And this was one of my pet peeves with the system I used to work with before. I didn't have the option to modify my notary log or make sure my notary log was correct when I was doing the process before. This gives you a chance to see exactly what's going to go into your notary log. We had 2 seals that we put on the document, each one applied to 2 different signers. I've got their addresses in there. I've got the notarization type, the package type, all that information, how the ID verification was done. Everything is recorded. I can put how much was paid for this particular signing. So I'll put 130 bucks just as a sample right there, confirm the fee, and then I can complete the job. And that's going to write that out to my notary log. And once it's written to the notary log, keep in mind, notary logs are immutable. They cannot be changed. They are never deleted from our system. There's a permanent record. You can download your notary log if you want to keep it on your personal device, on a spreadsheet or something like that. But you can't change the one that's on the system. It's immutable and is not, you're not able to change that. And I'll show you my notary log on my login here in a minute. Okay, so this document is now completed. You'll notice here that there's an orange box right here that says release to documents to signer. And I put this in here for notaries that are charging their clients for getting documents done. If you're charging your client and your client hasn't paid yet, you might not want to release the documents to them yet. That's going to be your call. If you release the documents, they'll be able to log in and download the documents. If you don't release the documents, they will not be able to log in and download the documents. They'll log in and it'll say nothing's there. So you won't have any documents for them to see. But I'm going to go ahead and release those documents. You will see here we've got the ID reports, we've got the recording, we've got the certificate of authenticity on and the audit trail. The certificate of authenticity is going to have all the details about the job here. You can see session start time, end time, the documents that were done, the verification hash that we keep on our system. All the details about the job are right there. So if the lender needs to see a certificate of completion, that's what you would give to them. If they need the audit trail, it's right there for them as well. Um, everything they need is right there on that document, set for them to download. If you hit download all, you will get everything here except for the recording. I don't include the recording in the zip simply because the recordings tend to be very, very large. And I don't, and most of the title companies don't need the recording. They just the lenders will, but the title companies don't normally need them. And I just tell them to log in and download it themselves rather than me emailing them anything. I don't email documents to anybody. Um, all right. So, are the signers verified before coming into the session? I got a question there. Yes. When we create the job, when we first create the job and I accept the job from the dashboard, the signers are immediately sent an email. Let me share my email screen and I'll show you exactly what that looks like here. Hang on just a second. If I can find it quickly. No guarantees I can find it quickly. So let me just open it up here. Should be right at the top of my email. Signing appointment scheduled. Okay. You've been scheduled for a remote notary appointment. So it's gonna give them a notification here. It's gonna tell them to who their notary is, the notary's email address and phone number, and it's gonna have a button there for them to access their appointment. If they're a new signer that has never signed before, this button will say create your account because they have to create an account on our system the first time through. If they're a returning signer that's done a document before, then it would just say access your appointment and they would log in from there. And that will walk them through the signing process. And again, for those of you that might have come in a little late, I will give each of you a chance to do the ID verification so you can see the signer's side of the ID verification process. The way I do that is when you enroll as a notary on the platform, we'll set up a one-on-one session where I will be the notary, you will be the signer, and we'll go through a signing session together. So you'll be able to see exactly what they go through to be able to get their ID verified, their signature created, and get everything set up for the job and be ready to rock and roll. All that makes sense? Okay, couple more things I want to go through here on here. If I can get this stuff off my screen. I'm going to go back over here to the dashboard. I told you I was going to go through and show you where the notary settings were for creating your own shortcuts. If you go down here on the left-hand side under notary settings, you've got the shortcuts section here. This is where you can create any kind of shortcut that you want to create. These are used inside the text tags, and all you have to do is go over here and click add shortcut, choose whatever shortcut letter you want to use. These are all single letter. So you are limited in how many you can create just based on the number of letters that there are out there. So let's say I'm just going to create one. I'm going to call it M and I'm going to make the label. I think we got somebody on the call called Tamika. So I'm going to pick on Tamika. I don't know your last name, Tamika. So I'm just going to guess. Tamika something. All right, so I created a tag called Tamika something. I don't know her last name. Sorry about that. So I'm going to go back over here. If I go back into a job now and I open up a job that has not yet been completed and I go to tag it, I don't think that job has, there we go. If I hit T for text and then I double click on that, hit apostrophe M, it's going to put in that shortcut tag that I just created. So it's very easy to create your own shortcuts to do whatever you want to put on the document. Okay. Somebody says they love that feature. I actually I wish I could say I took credit for it, but I stole that from somebody else. But it was a feature that I thought was very helpful because one of the things that I a lot of I'll show you my own signing session the platform here. I'm going to log out and log in on under my admin login here if I can find it. I got too many sign-ins. Here we go. 1 second here. There it is. 92907. Okay, so you can see I've got tons and tons and tons and tons of jobs that I put on here. I've got jobs, I've got over I got thousands of jobs on here that I've done. You can look under my notary settings on my shortcuts. You can see I've got several of them in here. I've got my disclosure, which is notarized by USA Notary Services using online audio video communication. You're going to need something similar to that on the bottom of yours, depending on what your state requirements are. But I also have my header, Commonwealth of Virginia, County of Hanover. So when I'm going to do my um, documents, I can very quickly go through and put in this text that I use repeatedly, and be able to put that shortcut information in there very quickly. Tamika Birds. Okay, thank you, Tamika. Uh,
No problem.
okay, so yeah, just to show you on a document here, just for the heck of it, I'm going to open up one that I've got coming up here. Open up to a blank section of the document. If I want to put in my header on here, double click and I hit apostrophe C, it puts in my Commonwealth of Virginia, County of Hanover. And if I put in apostrophe D, it puts in my entire disclosure. And I can do that very quickly without having to worry about retyping that over and over and over again every time. All right. I'm going to delete that because that doesn't actually belong on a live document set. Okay. I'm going to open it up to questions. See if anybody has any questions they want to present to me here. Nobody has any questions? I'm not sure if that's because my presentation was so good or if it was put everybody to sleep.
All right.
Okay, here we go. Looks pretty straightforward. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward system. Now, a couple of things that I will mention to you here. The system is Um, the system's a few years old, but it hasn't been put out to a lot of notaries yet. There's probably right now there might be 25 notaries on the platform right now. That's going to grow very quickly, but we're at a point right now where if there are features that we want to add to the system, now is the time to do it. So if there's any particular feature that you don't like, or if you've seen something on another platform that you do like, I'm very open to suggestions on what we can do to improve the system. Um, yeah, everybody's going to need to get a walkthrough at some point. I see Tamika, I think it's Tamika has put on here that she wants to walk through. Everybody's going to need a walkthrough, and that's something that I will do one-on-one with each person. And we'll walk you through a signing session with me as the notary, you as the signer, and vice versa. So you'll see exactly how it all works. So somebody was asking about the tiers and the payment system. I'll go through that with you here. There are three tiers to the platform, and I just call them very simply level one, level two, and level three. As a level one notary, it's just basically a signing notary. You're not going to get a lot of extra features with it. It's cost $19.95 a month. As a signing agent basics listener, you will get a 70% discount on that if you purchase 90 days in advance. So, it's like, 15 bucks for 90 days. You will get a $20 wallet credit each month that you are with the platform. That's automatic. So it basically pays for your first signing every month with a little bit left over. That's just so you can get your feet wet with the system. And then you'll pay $12 per signing, regardless of how many seals or how many signatures you put on the document. You pay $12 per signing and $2 for each ID verification. If you opt for level two, the price drops to the price increases to $29.95, but the per session cost drops to $10. And you will get the marketing page and calendar that you can use for scheduling your sessions. And then if you decide to go with the level three is $49.95 a month. It's going to include a few other features. And I'm going to do another session on what those other features are at another time. But to give you a quick rundown, you will have a testimonial feature where you can basically contact your existing clients, or when you finish a signing, you can request testimonials so that you can start building your marketing page with live testimonials. You'll have a follow-up system, so the system will automatically send follow-ups for you after a signing session. So that, that'll basically help you stay in touch with your signers over a long period of time. Um, and you're going to have the ability to white label your session. So instead of seeing Sharpnote over here on the left-hand side, you can have your photo and your company name and your logo over there, so that when people sign in, you just send them to your website rather than sending them to mine. I don't need you to market my webpage. I would rather you guys market your own business. The white label allows you to basically do everything in your own colors, your own logo, your own style. Um, and let's see, we got another question here. How to get your Ron certificate in the state of Tennessee. Um, I have to research that one. I apologize. I don't have that information right handy, but I will make sure that you get that information as soon as I can. Now, as far as approval in the states, nobody has asked about that, but I want to make sure I cover that in depth. We are approved right now in about 30 states. We are able to operate in about 30 states. There's about 4 or 5 states right now that do not allow Ron at all. California, South Carolina is starting to get there, but they're not quite there yet. And there's a couple others. I think Georgia is not quite there yet. Georgia had a temporary Ron platform that you could use during COVID, but they've disabled that now. So if you are in Georgia, you will not have the ability to be a Ron right now. But we've already applied to all of the states that allow for Ron notification or Ron certification, and we meet all the standards in every state. There's a couple of them that we will not get certified in until I have a notary apply from those states, mainly because of the cost to get approved in that state. I think one of the states, it's like a $5,000 upfront fee to get approved in that state, and we're not going to make that investment until we have a notary in that state that's going to be working in that state. But the states that again that I do most of my work in is in Florida and Texas and Virginia. We are approved in Delaware. We will be approved in Maryland this week. The Secretary of State there told me they should have the approval back out to me by the end of the week, so we should be in good shape there. And if you have a question about any other state, just email me, and I will make sure you get that information so you know exactly where we are with each state certification. Okay. The for the digital certificates, I use IdenTrust for my digital certificates. It's really NNA has a digital certificate program now, so you can get it from them. Um, as long as it's a trusted certificate authority, it doesn't really matter where you get the digital certificate from. I know through IdenTrust, it's I think $89 a year if I remember right. I just got one recently from one of my employees. It's not extremely expensive to get the digital certificate. For the E&O, I am going to require that you have at least $25,000 in E&O to be a subscriber on the platform. I highly recommend that you get more E&O than $25,000. I require that my internal notaries that actually work on my clients have at least $100,000. And if you're going to be NSA certified through the National Notary Association, you will have to have $100,000. $100,000 is really the bare minimum in E&O. I carry more than that myself. I carry a quarter million E&O, and even that I think is probably a little light. And I'll tell you why I think that is. And I'm not going to go much further than this, but I had a case a couple of years ago where I had a husband and wife together that had done a notarization with me. And then about 3 or 4 months later, I found out that the husband and wife were going through a divorce, and she said that she never signed the paperwork, that she was never on the Ron session. Fortunately, I had the video backup to prove that she was on the Ron session. If not, I could have been looking at an E&O claim on a $1 million house. Which could have been blown through my E&O insurance and taken my house real quickly. Fortunately, I had the proper documentation and I had the video to back it up. And she looked kind of like an idiot in court, but those kind of things come up. People will make mistakes. As a notary, you will make mistakes. You want to make sure you have enough E&O to cover you. So I think it's well worth the money to have at least $100,000 in E&O. Okay, so that's pretty much everything I have for this evening. If you know anybody else that is interested in getting at this presentation, I will have this video up on my YouTube channel here by tomorrow, and so people can go back and watch this video again. I highly encourage that you watch this 2 or 3 times. Just to make sure you've got all the particulars down. And if you are going to sign up, you and I will set up a one-on-one where we'll spend a half hour, 45 minutes together, and I will go through the signing process with you again to make sure you are familiar with everything all the way through. And then the last thing I'll cover before I get out of here is I've had some people ask me about the way that I do marketing through LinkedIn and using Apollo. I am going to set up another training session on how to build your market using Apollo and LinkedIn and using the system that we've developed that is very effective in being able to build the relationships over time. You don't want to work with a company that's just giving you business because they're going to pay you a very small amount for your time. You want to be able to build your own client base, your own title agents, your own whatever market you're going to be in. And the LinkedIn system we have is very good for that. So we will go through that process. Do me a favor if you are interested in that, drop me an email and we will then let me know what times, what days of the week are best for you, and I'll see if I can work out a day of the week that works for the most people, and we'll do a training session on the LinkedIn process as well. I got one person. Monica says she only works on demand and with signing services. I want to talk to you, Monica, because I want to know how you're doing that too. Because if there's a signing service out there that can keep you busy on demand, online, that's great. That's fantastic. I know when I was with the company that I was with before, they kept me busy full time. I mean, I was busy 12 hours a day, as many signings as I wanted to do. But that same platform now can't do that anymore. They don't have that volume of business, or they have too many notaries or something. They just can't do it anymore. So it'd be interested to talk about that. Um, Anybody else have any other questions they want to cover tonight? All right, so I will make sure that I'll get my YouTube channel out. I'll email everybody with my YouTube channel because I don't remember what it is right off the top of my head. But I will make sure everybody gets a copy of that in the follow-up email that I send out. And thank you all for your time. If you are going to register, go ahead and do that online, and I will talk with you sometime this week to get you set up. You guys have a great night.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Good night.
Good night.